I realize this video has a snowball's chance of reaching the folks who need to hear it, and even less of a chance of them being receptive to the message therein. But just in case it does reach the Fox News set, Donald Trump is absolutely bullshitting you about Washington, D.C. He is manufacturing a crisis in order to justify his pathetic, weak-ass attempt at playing authoritarian dictator, trying to seize control over the nation's capital. For multiple reasons, because this is sort of the standard playbook of authoritarians, but also because he's desperate to distract you from the Epstein files, trying to get all his MAGA base to worry about urban youths, because Elon Musk's little Shitler youth big balls got beaten up by a couple of teenagers. Obviously, I'm way out in Portland, Oregon. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's maybe listen to some folks who live in D.C.
Hey, just for the record, I've lived in the dead center of Washington, D.C. for 10 years. I don't even have a car. I walk everywhere I need to go in D.C. Been walking the streets for 10 years in this city and never had a single crime happen to me.
Hi, I live in D.C. and I just want the world to know that the president is lying. It's a lie. As a D.C. resident without a vehicle, I want the world to know that D.C. is no more unsafe than it has been. I want the world to know that this feels like fascism here.
Good afternoon to everyone but our stupid fucking president. I'm currently walking in DC getting my coffee that I get at lunch every day. And why am I seeing FBI? What the fuck is wrong with him? I've lived in DC now for 4 years, and I've never had a single issue. Yeah, there's crime, I'm not denying that. Every major city has crime. And DC's at a 30-year low, so why don't we just release the files and all untwist our fucking fannies?
Just making this video to document that I live in the District of Columbia, so if you don't live in the District of Columbia, you may not realize that everything that guy says is a lie. There are not roving gangs of violent people in the District of Columbia coming down my street. Went for a run this morning. Sun is out. Lots of people are out of town because it's summer. The background noise you may hear is my neighbor fixing their gutters. It's a normal, regular city. It's a city. We have city problems here. But it is not in need of the National Guard. Thank you very much.
Everyone, I'm here on the crime-ridden streets of downtown D.C. I mean, really, this is terrible. There's a Lime bike there that someone left. I mean, people are walking around and driving. People are eating lunch. I mean, you couldn't ask for a worse situation, honestly. I mean, it's just evident that we need the National Guard and the FBI to be patrolling the streets. I mean, look at what's happening. I hear sirens now in the background. And look at this crime. There's a new coffee shop that is open now near the White House. I mean, do we really need another coffee shop? I think the criminal element is very happy about this.
If you don't live in D.C., you would think that, damn, D.C. is like he said, giving Baghdad or something, but it's not. It's not at all. Yes, we have issues like any other inner city.
Trump does not care about DC's safety. He cares about control. And what we know from history is that authoritarians always want to control the capital and the people in the capital city, to silence dissent and to accelerate their agenda.
But maybe you're like, no, I don't trust those folks. They're probably liberals. Cool. Crime statistics are at a 30-year low in DC. In fact, it's not just homicide, it's assault with a deadly weapon, it's robbery, it's sexual abuse crimes. Across the board, all of them are down in 2024. It is a 30-year low. But again, you don't have to take my word for it. The Trump regime said it earlier this year.
Our children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities.
The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore.
I mean, we could talk about how the decrepit Cheeto could barely get through that press conference. It was all scripted out for him and he was struggling. The evidence of his cognitive decline is just like on full display on a daily basis. The media doesn't want to talk about it. They love to talk about how Joe Biden was going downhill, but when it is in your face, completely obvious, they don't want to talk about it with Trump, but we see it, don't we? So first of all, Trump claimed that the murder rate was like an all-time high in 2023. Now, there was a little spike in 2023, but actually the murder rate was higher in 2010, 2011, 2013, 2014, 2016. Should I go on? In May of this year, Trump's own regime contradicted the narrative that they are putting forth today when they tried to take credit for the absolutely plummeting crime statistics from 2024 and the fact that they are staying low in 2025. None of that credit was given to Joe Biden or, to the people of Washington, D.C. and the folks who are governing there. Kash Patel tried to take credit for Donald Trump for the falling crime statistics for 2024 and 2025. But now that they are falsely claiming crime is out of control, suddenly that's the fault of what? Young black folks in D.C.? Now, don't be fooled. This is absolutely Donald Trump's attempt to divert your attention from the Epstein files. But it's also his attempt to play dictator and try and see some measure of control. He can't do it through actual physical means, right? This is all a psychological tactic. Hundreds of National Guard members are not going to hold a city of 750,000 plus and then extend out to the suburbs. Like that's not going to happen. But it's a psychological game. They want you to think they have fully occupied the city and y'all should just give up because he's now a military-style dictator who is going to seize control in every major city across America. They're trying to trick you to give up in advance. That's not going to work on the American people. It's not going to work on us. It didn't work in Los Angeles, where Trump's efforts have been a big, fat fucking failure. He's a big, fat loser. In LA, he had to withdraw the Marines, withdraw almost all of the National Guard. There's a couple hundred of them left there. And Trump is currently getting his ass handed to him in court in California. And he will also fail in Washington, D.C. He wants to be a big, fat, powerful dictator, but he's not one. He's going to try dictator shit and fail every time. Because the American people are not going to tolerate it. The moment Trump announced this bullshit, we saw residents of D.C. take to the streets. Washington, D.C. is not a city that's going to roll over for Donald Trump. It's certainly not going to fucking roll over for J.D. Vance. We know he's trying to nudge Trump out. That should be pretty apparent to everybody by now. The residents of Washington, D.C. are not going to take it. They're already showing that they're not going to take it. Please don't be freaked out. Trump is trying dictator shit because he is desperate to hold on to power. His agenda is deeply unpopular. He is underwater universally across every single issue. The American people do not like what the Republicans are doing. They do not like what Donald Trump is doing to trample on our rights, wreck our economy, destroy our quality of life. So he and his little minions are desperate to seize control anywhere that they can, which is why it's more crucial than ever that we stand up against what he's doing. He's desperate, and desperate men will do shit like what we're seeing in Washington, D.C. right now. He's going to cause real harm there, but he's not going to be successful in taking over D.C. and taking over the United States. Let me leave you with these folks in D.C. from yesterday and today. And I hope that they are an encouragement to you. I hope they inspire you to stand up against tyranny.
Danger, there's a fascist in the White House.